Testing. Testing 2, 3, 1. 1, 3, 2. Testing. Is it working? Oh, it's working. Excellent. All right. So the subject is a reply to bulk heavyweight. Uh, um, black BLK heavyweight, black heavyweight, and I'm thinking a lot about the fact that I try to be gentle and stuff. So, but people don't seem to think so. So, I want this to be I respect your view, heavyweight. Your right to have it. I just disagree with it. Now, first of all, of course, the military wants to control the weather, wants to make that. You'll be able to find. I didn't check up on all your quotes, but you'll be able to find, no doubt, tons of claims and marketing and military industry marketing about wanting to control the weather. And I know my whole life they've been trying and have tried to seed clouds and all kinds of things. It could be an agricultural boom if you could figure out how to seed clouds. Now, my understanding is they haven't been able to do that. And HARP, was a station for experimenting on the ionosphere by shooting energy up there. How much energy is there? That's the main thing. The main reason I don't believe this has happened is because all of the science that happened in the open. Now they would want to do it, and sometimes they do things behind closed doors that they just have enough money to do, right? So for example, back in the late 70s or 80s, you'd hear they have satellites that can, read the license plate off a car, and I tend to believe that. And if it wasn't true then, they were certainly working on it, and they had it way before anybody else. They probably had it back then. So that happens, and they would love to do that with weather control, but I just don't think so because all the open science shows that none of the easy ideas worked. And the whole idea of using chaos theory, like all it takes is a butterfly, like you can seed the clouds. Well, the thing about chaos theory is you can't figure out where you could flap your wing and cause the storm. Um, so, in other words, it takes a ton of energy. There is so much energy in a weather system that to affect it by any regular physical means just requires a ton of energy. You could do it if you had enough, I don't know, fans and enough energy. You could create wind patterns. You could affect existing wind patterns, but it would take a tremendous amount of energy. Um, like what's causing global climate change, it's got to be an out of control or not under control phenomena. Humans can affect it, but over periods where there's compound interest and things build up. Because in terms of affecting a single storm, no, I don't see it. The raw amounts of energy involved imply that it would be very difficult to do that, to just find the amount of energy. And then also, I don't know of any case in physics or whatnot where you can, there's some frequency of energy or anything that's going to really affect the weather. And some of this stuff will slip out into, speculative science reporting and and some people will report on things like it. And the like taking pictures from space. There was public science about, well, it's theoretically possible, or here's what you have to do, or you need this amount of light, or whatever. The constraints and the constraints on weather control, it's just like, no, the reason the climate is changing is the reason the public scientists have said that's the best guess right now. It doesn't have to be perfectly, the consensus isn't perfectly true. I mean, there's things where the fact that the earth was warming increased carbon dioxide, but you can see, to a good sigma that the line of the actual increase is steeper than that, steeper than the fact that we're coming out of a ice age. So that's the reason. And I don't really see what's odd about, you know, the current map. It does look like a low pressure and high pressure kind of interaction to me. This is what you see in that. So I do respect, your right to have a different view and all of that, but yeah, I'm just not believing there's any weather control. That's, some conspiracies, so-called. I mean, that doesn't mean it's wrong. I could believe it. I could see it. And for example, I'm saying I know they would love to control the weather. They must have tried with billions of dollars to do it. But my assessment of how that turned out is they couldn't.